Hello, everybody. My name is Niels, and I'm the father of a now 7-year-old diagnosed with a very rare genetic condition. I work with an organization called Jordan's Guardian Angels to drive advocacy about my son's condition as well as initiatives that impact many others as well. I'm here to share a very brief overview of my son's syndrome and, more importantly, what you can do for your patients that may be impacted by a rare genetic disorder, not just Jordan's syndrome. Before we get to it, I do want to thank you for your time. I recognize how valuable it is. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for sharing some of it with me. So, this is my son, Ollie. He it could be considered fortunate when it came to his diagnosis journey. It took us less than a year to determine what was causing developmental delays and seizures when he was about a year old. And he was diagnosed at that young age with a rare genetic condition called PPP2R5D, or commonly known as Jordan syndrome. And I feel very strongly that he has benefited tremendously from various forms of therapy, from speech to occupational to physical therapy every day for many, many years now. And as that is directly as a result of his early diagnosis that we've been able to put some of those interventional therapies into place when we did. The reality is that not all kids are as fortunate as Ollie to get a diagnosis as early as he did in his journey. I do want to share just a very quick overview about Jordan syndrome. It is a PPP2A related neurodevelopmental disorder that sits on the PPP2R5D gene. There are currently 400 individuals that are officially diagnosed with Jordan syndrome. We do believe, based on the modeling, there are tens of thousands that remain undiagnosed. And the 501c3 that supports both the education, treatments, cure therapy, research, et cetera, is Jordan's Guardian Angels, who I work with on the advocacy side of things. It is important to know what should you be looking for. And some of this you may already know through some of your continuing education. Some of the common symptoms that we see in Jordan syndrome and other commonly seen rare genetic disorders are things like low muscle tone, language developmental delays, epilepsy, and certainly a lot of these children are on the autism spectrum. Now, it's important to note that the only positive way to diagnose a genetic disorder like PPP2R5D is with genetic testing, and that's really what we're here to talk about today. So this is Ollie. He was as shocked as I was during his passport photo to learn some of these statistics, that there are millions born each year with a genetic condition. The reality is that journey is very, very difficult. It can take 7 specialists, 3 misdiagnoses, and to me, the most important statistic we've got to improve upon is that it takes nearly 5 years on average to get to a diagnosis. And I want you just to imagine for a second how many interventional therapies a child could get if we were able to cut that down a year, 2 years, 3 years, et cetera. It could really change many, many kids' lives. And as you're well aware, rare is not rare. There are now over 10,000 rare diseases that have been identified across the world, with 1 in 10 people that are affected, very few with approved treatments. And the sad news is that over 50% that are diagnosed are children, primarily because of this genetic sequencing that we're able to now do for many of these kids that we just don't know exactly what is going on. What are we asking of you, the pediatricians, the clinicians, et cetera? Hopefully, it's a very simple request. As soon as you start to see some of these symptoms, refer to neurology and genetics as early as possible. Insurance often mandates that genetics needs to be the organization that sends in the request for gene sequencing or genome testing. It's something that oftentimes, and we hope to change, can't happen from pediatrics. And so that is our number one request of you, is as soon as you see these things, refer them to genetics. Now, what do we know? What was Ollie's journey like? As you saw in some of the photos, his journey included blood work, MRIs, EEGs, CT scans, lots and lots of time, lots of uncertainty. What we're advocating for is that the world of tomorrow doesn't just include these things, but much earlier includes getting some genetic testing done as quickly as possible. Not only is it significantly faster, less expensive than many of the other things, it might get to an answer much faster, which is at the end of the day, what we are pushing for. That said, I tried to keep this under 5 minutes. You're not alone in this effort. There are peers and other organizations like Seek First, Project Find Out, that are pushing this same initiative to get sequencing done as quickly as possible. And certainly the Gene Review is a fantastic place to get more information. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Hopefully this wasn't too rapid fire. You can get a lot more information on our website through these QR codes of information clinically related to answer any questions you may have. Lastly, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have as well. Thank you.